Hello out there. My name is Laulu Akode, and you are on to Inside Sources. But first, here is my take for the day, and I have two important issues. The first one is titled The Urgency of State Police. Few days ago, the president, while receiving the delegation of people from Katsina State, a number of the eminent citizens from that state, did say that it is important for us to adopt state police. And we must say thank you again, Mr. President, for saying this. But Mr. President, you have not shown us enough dedication and commitment to actualizing this idea of state police. You have spoken about it, and you've spoken very strongly about it. Of course, looking at the insecurity that is all over the place, it is clear to all of us that we have to give governors and state governments the ability to deploy security agencies. But Mr. President, when you wanted to have those tax reform bills, you were much more bullish about it. When you wanted to change the national anthem, you got it done in the twinkle of an eye. Now, we're not saying that the adoption of state police can be that easy compared to the national anthem that was changed, but you have shown this country that when you want something done, you can get it done. Those tax reform bills got significant resistance, but you stood your ground, and today you have signed those laws. By the beginning of next year, we will begin to benefit from those reforms. This is the same kind of attitude, Mr. President, that we want you to show when it comes to this issue of the adoption of state police in Nigeria. Listen to what Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara said days ago, that he knows how to end banditry in a state. He says he knows where the bandits are. He can go after them, but he has no authority so to do. This idea of having to wait for orders from Abuja, whether it be from the military or from the police IGP, is not working. And Mr. President, you know all about it. Please, Mr. President, do this for us. Be bullish about the implementation and the adoption of state police in such a way that the governments in the states have the ability to deploy the agencies, and also that we don't do it in a way that we bring political abuse. We can do it. We can be innovative. We can end the level of insecurity in this country and scale it down. The next point is what I call the lamentation of President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, we have to give President Goodluck Jonathan his flowers. He is a true Democrat. When he considered the election in 2015, he distinguished himself as a Nigerian who is committed more to the progress, the unity, the advancement of this country more than his own personal interest. And so when he spoke this week about how he was betrayed and about how people showed him disloyalty, it was something that attracted the attention of the entire nation for the right reasons. But this is the point, former President Goodluck Jonathan. Our national development has actually been slowed down by the depth of personal aggrandizement that has attended our politics. And it is indicated and reflected with the level of betrayals and disloyalty to the common cause of the people. Because of the depth of the personal interest in our politics, the commitment to higher ideals is missing. And it is that absence of a commitment to higher ideals, of service to the people, of ending poverty, of fighting corruption. It is the lack of commitment to those things that make it possible for the level of the disloyalty of which you suffered and of which is the denominator of our politics. We need our politics to rise above personal aggrandizement. Not that we can entirely erase personal interest, but we can rouse ourselves up as a people to understand that we owe it to our people to terminate poverty and to fight corruption. If those are the two things that our political leaders can commit to in the real sense, then you find out that the level of disloyalty and the betrayals might reduce a little bit. But if it is all politics for the self, if it is all about elite politics, what I get or what my group gets, then we will continue to see more and more of this kind of betrayals of which you speak. The call is to our political elite. Please let us rise up and be committed to greater ideas for our people. And we believe that we will get there. And there you have it. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, on this edition, I want to open the show with a discussion on Nigeria's national security architecture. Now, clearly, we've been dealing with the problem of insecurity for a while. And to join me in that very critical conversation is somebody that served in the Nigerian Army for 30 years, actually retired as the Director of Legal Services, after which he worked as a consultant to some of the service chiefs for 10 years and became subsequently, for another 3 years, the Director of Special Duties in the Office of the National Security Advisor. I'd like to welcome back to Inside Sources retired Colonel Ralph Bello Fadele. Colonel, it's good to see you again.
Thank you very much, Laulu. My pleasure, as usual.
All right. So let us start from what the governor of Zamfara State said this week. The governor of Zamfara State, and he has said this before, he said, look, guys, these bandits that are ravaging my state, I know where they are. I can show you on my phone how to track them. The only problem that I have is that I cannot deploy security agencies. They tell me that they are waiting for orders from Abuja. Colonel Fadile, you were Director of Special Duties in the Office of the National Security Advisor for 3 years. Tell us, how do you respond to this kind of a claim by the governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal? And it's not the first time he's saying it.
Yeah, the problem is people who are charged with the responsibility under the law are not ready to implement the law. If the law is properly implemented by those who are charged with it, then he wouldn't have to say that. He would just be happy to have them in. But people are delegating their duties and shifting responsibility to others who have no means of executing it. That is a major problem. The law says who is in charge of terrorism in Nigeria, who is in charge of security in Nigeria. We have the National Security Strategy. Nobody is following it. It's there in black and white what the responsibility of everybody is. You have the Terrorism Act, specifically Section 2 gives responsibility to who should be in charge, not the governor, because according to our constitution, the governor is supposed to be the chief security officer of the state, but he has no control over anybody. He is there at the will of the director of state security, the will of the commissioner of police, who takes order from Abuja. That is the truth. That is what we are facing. So everybody should stand up for his responsibility and stop shifting it to others. That is the starting point.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get into a little bit more detail, but I want us to start from that, your reference to the national security strategy. You said that it's not being followed. Can you just give us an insight into what you mean when you said that we have a national security strategy, but we're not following it? Can you tell us more about that, Colonel?
The national security strategies specify what not just the military, every organ of government has to do. You have a coordinator or a coordinator or a fusion somewhere that everybody feed into with intelligence from the grassroots. And then somebody coordinates those instructions and assigns specific responsibility to who should take charge, who should go here, who should go there, and not the responsibility, for instance, of the guy in the defense headquarters, which the military, the soldiers in Maiduguri call him the media general. That is not his responsibility, for instance. He has no responsibility unless there's a joint service which is coordinating as ordered by the president through the Minister of Defense. Have you ever seen the Minister of Defense talking about security? Have you ever heard or seen any joint chief of staff or chief of staff of any nation going on press addressing security issue in the world? Only in Nigeria you see that. So that's part of the responsibility. Everybody has a responsibility, including, for instance, the Minister of Interior. He meets in the office of the National Security Advisor on a monthly basis. The joint board meeting, they call it. Minister of Foreign Affairs, he meets there. And everybody is assigned his responsibility. And then the National Security Advisor say, you, go and do this. That's not there. It's in paper, it's on paper, but practically zero.
Okay, so you are saying that under the national security strategy of which you speak, we don't have the right people doing the right thing. That's what you're saying.
Well, you may have the right people, but they are not doing the right thing. They are not doing what they are supposed to do. Maybe that's what I should put it. You have people, you have well-trained individuals, both civilian and military and police, but are they doing the right thing according to the law? No. You know, terrorism is the responsibility of the National Security Advisor to assign individuals according to Terrorism Prevention Act Section 2, listed what he can do and what he should be doing. Are they doing that? He coordinates. He coordinates the SSS and the military and the police. He assigns responsibility for it. That's what the law says, not me. But is it happening? Everybody is going solo on his own. Why? Because national security has been monetized.
So when you say national security has been politicized and monetized, okay, can you explain what you mean by that for the benefit of our audience?
Because everybody it's like a business now. People say politics, churches, now security. Everybody is grabbing what they have. In fact, like somebody was telling me that we have multi-billion generals in the military now. Everybody is not using the fund as it should be done. And then take the Zamfara State as an example. Yes. What is the problem? He's PDP. The last person there was APC. PDP converted to APC, and now Minister of State for Defense, who works. He didn't. I don't know if he came out to say he who works with the Chief of Defense Staff, bypassing the Minister of Defense. No. And giving instructions on what to do or what not to do.
No, let me understand what you said. You're referring to the Minister of State for Defense. Is that
yes?
Okay. And you're saying that he is bypassing the minister. Is that what you mean?
That's right. He said so. The governor said so. So you see the politics now. He was the former governor, and he had problem. The new one came, wanted to fix it up. He couldn't. If they won't talk. They go behind him. They go behind him to meet with bandits and give them money. I'm sure he said so. If you get the abstract translation, that's exactly what he was saying when he said Abuja he didn't want to come out openly. It's a fight between PDP and APC in Zamfara State because the former APC governor is now Minister of State for Defense.
I see that.
He didn't come out. I don't know if he came out. But if you listen to the outside translation, that's what he was saying indirectly. So that is the politicization of security that I'm talking about.
What about the monetization? What do you mean by the monetization that you also mentioned?
Yeah, we have seen where kidnappers demand for ransom, and we have seen soldiers or civilians going to give money and taking their own cuts. We have seen video of that in Kaduna and in Niger State, I think. You have seen the local government collecting money, say they will give this, and then take their own part. So it's a source of making cool money. We have seen soldiers complaining. They are given whatever amount they are given, their boss takes half and gives them not Russia. We have seen video of soldiers complaining that their boss are taking money. And I'm told if you go to Abuja, any new building you are seeing, they probably belong to one of the officers or people involved in maintaining our security. And then the other aspect of monetization is, I had the discussion between El Rufai and the Office of the National Security Advisor about whether money is paid or not paid. Should that be an issue at all? Should it even come out? If we are sincere, it shouldn't be public discourse, because the soldiers are there saying it, the civilians are there saying it, the farmers are there saying it. They are all there complaining. So it's deny or not deny, that's not the issue. This is there. People are saying it. Go Sokoto, look at Kasina. They are there. There's a local government who came out openly and said, look, I have to settle these people. When he settling them, he's also settling himself. The question of denial doesn't come out at all.
So you say that that a lot of money is exchanging and inordinately.
Yeah, you have the middleman, you have the kidnappers, you have the victim's parent, and then you have the middleman who transfers the money and takes his own cut. People are saying it openly with video.
I mean, these are very troubling allegations, and you're right. We've had.
I'm not making any allegation. I'm saying what the people are saying.
Yeah,
I'm not the one saying it. It's there in the cyber world.
Well, but part of the unresolved issue is that the government, the NSA, is saying that they don't get involved in paying of ransom. And what seems to be in the open is that a lot of the victims are the ones that are organizing this ransom by themselves. I mean, those are the things that are in the public domain. Is that what you're saying, Colonel?
The NSA didn't say so. It is one of my meeting daddy that said so. The NSA won't come out and say that. He didn't say so. It was somebody from his office that said so. Look, I can give you a practical example of money changing hands. I have a friend of mine, he's dead now. The wife was among those kidnapped during the train matter. The son came down, the son lives here in America. He came down to Nigeria to pay for his mother. He met his father's mate, his father's townman from Delta. The Delta man said, oh boy, this will not be thing where government will do. Maybe go find money, maybe settle them. Government know they do now settlement to everybody, they find money. This guy had to raise over 100 million naira to free her mother, to free his mother.
Yeah. Yes.
This is from personal experience.
Right.
Money changes hands. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's the.
Now, who took the money to the bandits? That is is for you people to go and sort it out. But I'm giving you one pickle example that I know of.
Right. Yeah, of course. That's the point that I was also trying to make, that, yes, I don't think anybody can deny the fact already that victims have to come up with money. I think what the NSA office is denying is that government is not paying, which was what former Governor El Rufai was saying, that the NSA's office is actually...
They can go tell the Marines.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's move on.
They can go tell the Marine. We know better.
Okay, Colonel. Let's move on. And I wanted to ask that now, one of the things that I am aware, and a lot of Nigerians are aware of this, is that, I mean, since the administration of, former presidents, you served, as Director of Special Duties, when President Goodluck was there, then President Buhari, and then President Tinubu. All of them seem to have significantly, made expenditure, disbursement regarding security, significant disbursement. My point is that a lot of money has been going to the budget for security for some time now, since we've been dealing with this problem of insecurity. But do you think, Colonel Bello Fadile, that that we can justify those expenses when we look at the recurring problem of insecurity? Is it money wasted, or haven't we spent enough? Colonel Bello Fadile.
Well, I will talk relatively. When you talk about security or black budget, there is no quantification amount you can spend. But whether you are getting the result, the expected result, is relative. So I do not want to generalize specifically. It's relative. Yes, some progress are made, but is that enough? Is there a change? That is the point I'm making. That is the point I am making. The people charged with the responsibility, are they carrying it out as it's supposed to be to justify the expenses they have? You are talking of training. What training do they have? You are talking of equipment. Do they have the right equipment? Technology, why? The technology we have today, we didn't have it when we were there 12 years ago. Those are the things you need to look at.
Okay, so Colonel Bello Fadile, if you were to cancel the NSA, an office where you worked as a director, in the past, if you were to cancel the current occupant of that office, what do you think ought to be done now to ameliorate the level of insecurity in the country? In your own view, you have experience. You are a retired colonel, and you've also worked in that office. What specific counsel can you offer?
Number one is to take the Terrorism Prevention Acts, go to Section 2, and see his responsibility under that act. First, coordination. Second, meeting with all those who are involved. Coordinating and fusion center, which I understand they call it cyber security center now. We had proposed a fusion center before we left office. A fusion center where all information come in, and somebody, the NSA, who had the authority under the Terrorism Prevention Act to designate who and who should take responsibility with the advice of the Attorney General. Was the Attorney General doing anything with security? Yes, he has. He has responsibility under Section 2 of the Terrorism Prevention Act. Is it happening?
What's his responsibility? Sorry, what's the responsibility of the Attorney General specifically?
The Attorney General is to monitor that there's compliance with the law, there's prosecution of people arrested, of people found guilty, not handcliff. Yes, there's under the terrorism strategy, there's radicalization and rehabilitation of this individual. You hear they rehabilitated, they've gotten it, and the soldiers say the people they arrest and are arrested and handed over are released. You see them back again. You have some of them back in the military and sabotaging their efforts. So the responsibility is very clear. It is the responsibility of the NSA to say who takes who, not the chief of defense staff, not even the chief of army staff. He coordinates. The law says he should coordinate and designate who should take action. When we were there, we had the fusion center, semi-fusion center, where he coordinates the activity of everybody. Live coverage. Say Air Force, this one is going there, go. Now you have Air Force dropping bombs on their own troops, on own friendly forces, because there's no coordination. You go there, you bomb the place, the army is nowhere near to occupy the battle. The queen of the battle is not there, which is my infantry. We are never there when they bomb. And then you bomb, they go inside the bush, you fly off, they come back. No coordination. Hey, Air Force, Army, there's targets here. Army move, close by. We have a start line. As soon as you get there, you give the instruction to the Air Force, he releases, the Army goes in, the infantry goes in and take over, pushing them further away. That doesn't happen. You bomb them, they go inside the forest, where there's forest. You can't do anything. In an open place, you bomb, they join the civilians, the community. No soldier on ground to coordinate that. That's what the law says.
Okay, but all of that can't be the responsibility of the NSA alone, I'm sure.
No. That, you see, you remember I mentioned even the Minister of Interior. I mentioned Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
I mentioned Central Bank Government, Minister of Finance, Custom, Prison. They all have responsibility, which is coordinated by the Office of National Security as it stands then. And the law has not been changed, as far as I know.
All right, so
you have institutional failure, no coordination of intelligence gathering, everybody going on his own. Today, you hear the media general talking. You never hear the Minister of Defense. That shouldn't be the case. He has no business addressing the press or appearing like I'm appearing now. He has a PRO man. It is the Minister of Defense that has the responsibility to tell us what is going on with the military, what is going on with our security, not the Chief of Defense Staff, not even the Army, Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff. No, it is the Minister of Defense's responsibility to address issues. He is not to be seen or heard. He advises, he coordinates and tells me that this is it, this is it. Is that happening? No. No, the president said, excuse me.
I wanted to ask, so when the president summons the service chiefs, the Chief of Defense Staff, who is, coordinates all the defense, Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, Inspector General of Police, DGSSS, when he summons them to his office, which he has the authority to do, and then you have the constitutional specification for the National Security Council. But from your own experience, because I also have a take on this, what's the difference between the two? Do you get what's the difference?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing I'm talking about. That I can read the composition of the National Security Council. That's exactly what we have listed, including Minister of Defense. And at the end of that meeting, it is the Minister of Defense that should tell us what happened. They may not tell us what they have advised the president. Everybody is assigned responsibility when he calls them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because there are times, and this also happened during President Buhari's time when I served. There are times when the president will just summon the service chiefs, and it's not a convocation of the National Security Council. And I used to wonder whether that was the president just using his discretion, and whether not calling the Security Council itself in full, whether that is not undercutting the capacity of the system. Do you understand what I'm saying, Colonel?
That's exactly what I'm saying. People are not ready to follow the law. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly my point. People are not ready to follow the law.
It would be good to actually go and dig, how many times the National Security Council has actually met, as we are discussing it.
Please check. I'm not aware. Please check and go to the Constitution, see the rules they have to play. It didn't specify how often they should meet, but they should meet and advise the President of National Security. In fact, the Constitution also makes the National Council of States also has one of their responsibilities to advise the President on the security situation in the country and what to do. Yeah.
I mean, since now we're talking about constitutional bodies, I remember that Mr. Femi Falana, he has been making the argument that under the Constitution, that there is the National Police Council, where all the governors come together with the president to determine issues around national security as regards the police. And his own argument has always been that, yes, state police is not a bad idea, and I'm coming to that, but that we have not even used the opportunities that the Constitution created to get the governors to be much more influential in what happens in the police using the constitutionally designated National Police Council. What do you think about that, Colin?
I agree with him totally. It's part of the thing I'm saying, because you are talking about the military, that's why I didn't bring that one in. Yes, it's there, clear, clean. It's supposed to be. It's there. But what do we have? The Commissioner of Police in Kogi State doesn't take instruction from the governor.
Mm.
It is what the Inspector General says that goes. Point blank.
Yeah, and a lot of the time, you know, the time for those decisions to come from Abuja is often late, you know, to be able to deal with the situation.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't even call. And if you look at it, the state governor fund maybe 50-60% of the activities of the work of the police in that police command in the state. Yet, he doesn't have a say in what they do, unless it is in compliance with what the IG says. And who, you know, so that is the link. And then who controls the IG? Mr. President.
What's your own view about state police, Colonel?
Well, now, the concept of state police Nigerian is talking about, or the presidents have asked them to create state police, they don't know that concept. They don't know what they are talking about. When you talk about state police, it is not what I believe the Nigerian people want. They want community police department, community policing. Now, let me give you the difference. State police, we have it in America, went back first in Pennsylvania in 1905. That was when you had the first police force. And state police force. In America, we have different names for it. In Texas, for instance, it is called state trooper. In some other states, we call it highway patrol. Okay. All right? Yes. The responsibility of state police as a concept, as practice here in America and in England, he has about 5 responsibilities, which does not include security, community security, criminal justice system. First, he enforces law, the state law that cuts across the local government. Second, he provides protection for state officials and government. Second, he patrols the road, traffic patrol. In emergency cases, he helped the local police department. And then in major crimes within the state or county, he investigates. He investigates major crimes. Now, is that what we want, the state police? I don't think so. And then, I was talking with one of my general friends. He said, look, Bello, yes, the president has said he wants state police, they should create it, and the National Assembly and the Attorney General should go and work it out. And I was telling him, the government will not allow it. Number one of them is the IG of police. He will never allow it. You check section 214 to 216 that deals with police. He will never allow that to be changed. The National Assembly do not have the lever, or even the Attorney General, to do that. Yes, the president said, I want state police created. What type of state police are you talking about? Are you taking in the model of America or Britain or Germany? I think what we need is the decentralization of the current police force we have to the community. Community policing is what we need. And how does it work? Here, the community policing, the chief of police, for instance, New York's chief of police, New York State Department, restrict only to New York City. And the people are elected by the people or their people. Is that what we want? Is that what we need? Yes, that's what we need. But are we going to get there? No. So when you talk about state police, we have to be very careful. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, we are talking about it. This is the whole idea.
Yes, the public should be involved. What type of state police do you want? Do you want the one like the America? We call it any name you call it, but they have restricted responsibility. But if you are talking of security in the community, it is a community policing that you want. It is a community police that you want. You should decentralize the current police force we have and give the community where even the governor has no say on who is elected or who runs it.
Well, you're right. I also I know that the chief of police in New York City, is in charge.
On his own.
He runs the show and he doesn't take orders from anybody, but
yes.
Well, it's interesting, Mr. Fadle, you are there in Houston. It's interesting that President Trump is beginning to deploy the National Guard. That's another conversation entirely.
Yeah, and the judge just said he wants to take over our cities and create national police.
Yeah, exactly.
So the judge said he wants to be commander-in-chief of the national chief of police, chief of national police.
It's interesting that what we are trying to exit from is what Mr. Trump is trying to bring America into.
Let me just once you mention it.
Yes.
When there's problem, for instance, the trooper, the state trooper cannot handle it. He brings in the National Guard for the state. He doesn't call the military. You saw what happened, the progression in California, for example.
Yeah.
You call in the National Guard, you mobilize them, and then if it is beyond them, you bring in the military. The military is all over the place in Nigeria, doing police work.
Yeah.
That is it. Part of the problem.
Thank you so much, Colonel Ralph Bello Fadile. The truth of the matter is that I think we have an opportunity in this crisis to be able to reshape our national security architecture. And I think you are right. What the Nigerian people want is that the police in the community, even if it's the state, has authority to deal with the insecurity in that particular location without having to wait for somebody in Abuja to give orders.
Yes,
I agree with you on that.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contributions and your services, and thank you for coming again to Inside Sources.
I appreciate it. Thank you, and some other time.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. And that is one segment. Inside Sources will be right back with our concluding segment for today's edition. Welcome back to Inside Sources. In this concluding segment, we want to talk about what is happening in our embassies around the world, especially in Africa. Of course, we know that there are no ambassadors in all of our embassies. And then what's the implication of that? And the people that are there, what are they doing? And then the humanitarian situation in the country. Now, to join me in that very critical conversation is Mr. Fred Eno, who has been with the UN system in the last 10 years, has worked with the humanitarian coordinator, and is also a known international and global analyst. I'd like to welcome back to Inside Sources, Mr. Fred Eno.
Thanks, Tolu. It's always a pleasure coming back here.
Let's start from what is happening in our embassies across the world. This past week, the Foreign Ministry had to come out and say that we are struggling with financial issues. And then later they said, okay, now I think about 80% has been released. We don't have ambassadors in the place. I mean, you have been in that global space for a long time, including with the UN right here in Nigeria and across the continent and globally. How do you read what is happening in our embassies today? No ambassadors, no adequate funding. How do you read it, Fred?
Lalu, the last time we talked about this right here in the studios, we were very clear that ambassadors and the appointment of ambassadors was critical. I think we've gone past a little bit with time. We know that's not happened. But given where we are, I think it's even more critical now that we take a clear look at our embassies, beyond just the funding side of it,
Right.
making them more functional in a way that even if ambassadors are not there, the critical role that embassies play in our own both diplomatic and economic development really continues. I say this because, like I told you, I just came back. I did East Africa and the Great Lakes,
Okay.
Kenya, Tanzania,
Right.
DRC, Burundi. And this is for me, whether it's private or official travels, I always make sure I stop by. So they have career foreign service officers who are running those places now. And I must commend their patriotism. These people are not saying, we want ambassadors or we don't want them, but they're saying the key roles that these embassies, these diplomatic missions play. And across Africa now, when you look at issues of bilateral commissions, high-level visits and all of that.
By national commissions all over the place.
Embassies with chargé d'affaires could even do these things without waiting for huge funding to come.
But why is it not happening?
It's not happening because a lot of these diplomatic missions have been incapacitated. They can't even function with their day-to-day costs. And so just being in a position where you can do the little technical engagements you need, and we all sit down because we are waiting for the appointment of ambassadors. So they go hand in hand. These diplomatic missions are not there for show. They're not there to put up the Nigerian flag.
Right.
They represent core aspects of our diplomatic engagements as a country. The strength of a country is also measured
by its
representation.
Right.
And so you now have a situation where, I don't want to say that our immediate neighbors in West Africa are not as important.
They are actually important.
They're critically important.
Right, yeah.
But when you look at the continent, where you go further afield, in Central, Eastern Africa and the Great Lakes, I can tell you that's
your new forte.
Where I go to very regularly. And I can tell you for free that these countries are looking up to Nigeria in a way that's way beyond just us talking about being, the leader of Africa.
We don't even understand how they perceive us. That I get that sense that, when you interact with them, it's like, can you guys just put it together?
No. Putting it together, we all share that sentiment.
Okay.
Because if you look at a lot of them, they have some of the challenges we have too.
Yeah, true.
But there's an aspect in their telling us to put it together, which is you just lead and we will follow.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
So there's self-interest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
For them.
Yeah.
It's not asking us to put it together because we don't have it at all together.
Yeah.
It is because it is in their interest.
Yeah, I mean, which is what Mandela said, if you remember.
Yes.
That if Africa is going to, go ahead, that Nigeria has to take the lead.
And
is that the sentiment?
It's not only the sentiment. I spoke to a small crowd in Burundi recently. You will not believe that we have a Nigerian community in Burundi.
I imagine.
No.
Everywhere.
When I told them about what I call the Nigeria promise, I told them it's not about being Nigerian. It's that there is a responsibility we have that we did not choose. We did not choose to become the largest country on the continent.
Yeah.
And that bestows on us certain responsibilities which we must do. So when that perception comes, you can see it in a few places. I go to certain parts of Kinshasa where you have 5,000 Nigerian traders in a city.
Wow.
And it is changing drastically. More and more of them are beginning to want the opportunities to do business with us. And I'm not talking big industrialists. Small-time Congolese, Kenyan traders, and all of this.
Very significant for inter-African trade, actually.
No, it is critical. It is critical. And that's why I say issues like what the chargé d'affaires in Burundi told me that this binational commissions need to be things that are institutionalized. Because what it means is that the Minister of Trade does not need to be sitting down in Abuja and doing all the heavy lifting. The Manufacturers Association does its bit. The Chambers of Commerce do their bit. And she takes them along. It's almost as if I know the president is #1 salesman of the country and all of that. But all of those things where he goes on a trip and all the ministers follow, and then he takes the show, and then we come back.
And then we go back to...
But if a minister goes and her delegation are our manufacturers, our leaders of the chambers of commerces, our SME people, on that mission, there's no focus on the president. It is business to business, man to man, woman to woman. They talk. So the perception is really changed. I can tell you this. And these are places I've been visiting for 15 years. And beyond just the aspect of it that I told you earlier, the biggest of it all are the young people. I will tell you, they will make certain comments that sometimes you think that, no, I'll tell you, if not 3 out of every 5 young Africans you meet wants to be a Nigerian.
I know.
Because they feel it.
We have that strong pull.
No, it is.
And with this digital revolution, where our music, our culture is at large.
It's not only at large. You know, I had, I think it was a minibus. About 9 young people, I think Congolese, and then I had a small Nigerian television crew that was doing some filming with me in Burundi. But they had Congolese, they had a Kenyan, and the others. And you know, out of curiosity, I asked the youngest of them, a young girl, she must be 17 or 18. I said, who is your favorite artist? I want to play music for you.
Yeah, this is a Burundian.
No, this is a Congolese who was there. This is a country that is filled with music.
Yeah.
And she turned to me and said, Thames.
Look at that.
I know. So,
Thames is
no. You get where she got me. So when I put the Thames on the Spotify thing, the song that came up began almost midway. And it was that point where the collabo between Thames and Wizkid was playing. So when that popped up, I then turned to her and said, but this sounds more like Wizkid to me. She said, no, it is Thames with Wizkid collaborating. So she was
even clarifying for you.
No, she beat me. That's the power.
Yeah.
That's the power that our youth have in terms of all of this thing about talking about diplomacy and all of those things. So, yes, to be very honest with you, Laulu, I get it. I get the role of ambassadors. I get the aspect of how that level of representation enhances our bilateral relations. But I think we should also be focusing, like I said, on what these career diplomats who are running these embassies now in acting capacity.
What they can do.
Not only what they can do, but it's very patriotic of them to say, let's invigorate the functioning of our embassies. Funding, just making sure that they play those roles more directly, even if ambassadors are in place. So if we find ourselves in this situation again, our embassies could, I've heard a few things here about how the mission, the visit to Brazil, this and all that. Yeah, but we can function.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, that we need to have a functional embassy and all of that. And the role of these foreign service officers, career foreign service officers, as a matter of fact, in my own book, and this is just my own opinion, I think, the level of training that goes into some of these senior foreign and the exposure, they are good to become ambassadors. Fred, what is lacking is that you just don't give them the title. They need that title. They need that recognition to be able to pull it off. It's useful to have 1 or 2 politicians here and there, I think the thing has been proliferated. But for the most part, Fred, we have foreign service officers who are up to the job. And my own view is that make them ambassadors. Don't delay their career trajectory. You know, and that's part of the problem that I see in this lack of ambassadors for almost 2 years.
I get you, Lolo, and we were there last time we spoke. I get that. Not only are these people beneficiaries of wonderful training and exposure as government officials in the ministry.
Yeah, and
they have that.
They travel across the world.
They travel across the world, and I listened to some cases of this whole issue of even the funding.
Yeah.
Even the funding.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you have to go get some accountant from finance or budget and planning and bring them to run
service.
the financial services of embassies, when you have people who are trained in diplomatic funding and diplomatic financing, who should be doing that. So I get that across the board. And that's why I commend the patriotism of some of those career officers I met in these embassies. They're almost going beyond themselves to say, listen, it's not about whether I want the job. It's about saying, by my training, by my dedication to our diplomatic success, these are key areas that we should be investing in and making sure that no matter how bad, even with the funding, these minimum standards are met in terms of the delivery of our embassies. No, it's critical.
Yeah, it is.
It's very critical.
It is.
And you know, and I don't begrudge the big missions. I don't begrudge them at all. But you know, when you understand this, that when you go to these big international organizations, you go to these big international summits and conferences,
right?
The power a country pulls. I mean, when I look at Europe today, and then I say to myself that an American president sits down and clicks a finger, and the European heads of states are running to Washington like, you know,
queuing up
in
the White House.
Now, I, as I said, we have that opportunity again, because these smaller African countries, yes, they are sovereigns, they are, you know, entitled to certain things, but positions are going to come up. Positions both in terms of appointments or diplomatic positions, whether it is in international organizations, that you're going to need sovereign support from different countries.
Absolutely.
And at times like this, where you don't have ambassadors in the countries that should be lobbying them to support your position or your candidate for a position diplomatically, internationally, or even for not just a position in terms of appointments, but let's take a complex issue as trade negotiations that the Americans are using now with tariffs and things like that.
Right.
You get a position where Nigeria says, this is where we want to, you know, to go after AGOA. And that position is one that carries certain weight. You want to be in a position where Nigeria says, at a critical moment, I'll line up 30, 40 African countries.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so that is when you have embassies that are functional.
I agree. I agree with you.
It's really critical. It is.
Just because of our time, so that we can catch quite this particular issue. I wanted to also talk about the humanitarian situation in Nigeria. You have worked with the UN Humanitarian Coordinator for over a decade. You know, how do you assess, you know, that ministry, you know, and the humanitarian condition in Nigeria today? You know, you hear, I mean, you know, there's flooding all over the place. You see, besides that, you have Nigerians, you know, getting trapped and destroyed in boat mishaps all over the place. You know, how do you, what is our, you know, our how do you assess how we are able to manage, control our humanitarian situation?
I get that quite a bit. But let me begin by saying, you're correct. I've been an advisor until very recently, when I left the humanitarian coordinator and saw the evolution of what I would call the more recent humanitarian response structures in the country since the Civil War. Now, and basically advocated for the establishment of the ministry.
Okay, yeah.
The humanitarian...
In 2018.
The humanitarian structures you mentioned, in as much as it requires that humane touch of it, our capacity for disaster preparedness, disaster response, that goes outside of, I'm talking natural disasters here, the floods and the things that you mentioned, is still one that needs to be addressed, slightly separately from just humanitarian response.
Yeah, I know.
And that's really what the essence of the ministry was meant to be.
Yeah.
This thing of Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs going to be giving bags of rice and doing this and all of that, you have the NEMAs and the others there.
Yeah.
The real beef of this ministry was to be in a position where at any given time, you can look at a NEMA or a state emergency and say, okay, we are going to be experiencing this amount of floods or this number of communities that are going to be affected potentially.
Yes.
Because these things are predictable.
Yeah, that's the point.
And you go to the president and say, okay, this is what we think should be at our forefront now. And with that, you have your NEMAs and you have your, whether it's even the military. We don't need them only for elections. To say, military, can you do this much in terms of making sure that these communities here are properly protected, but we're going to relocate them even before the flood waters come. So that we are prepared enough in anticipation, but that also gives us a bit of flexibility when it happens suddenly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Fred Eno, for your very great insights, especially, this issue of our embassies and how it is that we have this soft power capacity especially in Africa.
We must.
We're just living life fallow.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can begin to transform that situation.
We certainly should.
And hopefully also we can straighten our humanitarian perspective, so that we separate it from disaster management, even though we have it in the same ministry, but these are clear different functions.
Clearly different.
And thank you so much for your service while at the UN, and I'm sure that you continue to be very useful in the global circle, especially in the Great Lakes.
Oh, well, I mean, I try to be like you. You move very, very, easily from the villa to here, and then we do what we know how to do best without any struggles. But thanks again for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Hey, don't mention at all.
Contributions.
Don't mention at all.
All right.
Thank you.
And there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. Nigeria will prevail because we continue to push the important issues, and hopefully we'll get a break one day. My name is Laolu Akonde. Thank you for watching, and by the grace of God, I'll see you at the next edition.